Yeah. So here we are, Herman Deal, the Better Wealth and Health podcast. And I'm excited today to talk about the originator of Silver Ninjas, Mr. JR. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Herman.
Yeah. And JR, tell me what inspired you to start Silver Ninjas and focus your work on helping older adults with their balance, and what is this thing you call dynamic balance?
Well, my start on that 15, 20 years ago was when my mother was starting to age, get older, and she was complaining. She says, "Ay, mijo, my muscles are hurting, my joints are hurting." And I just passed it off and said, "Oh, mom, you just need to move more." And she knew I did martial arts, so she said, "Well, what do you do?" And so I showed her just my warm up, just my body preparation to do martial arts. I would train with masters at the time, and I still do. And I showed her just my warm up from the top of my head to my toes. And I found that it really had a good response for her. She was doing therapy before for heart condition, but now without that constant therapy, she was able to do this by herself in her own house without having to go to a gym or go to a therapist. And she had such a bounce from that that got me thinking, wow, maybe more people could use this. So that's where it really came from. And it's a beautiful thing because using, for instance, you mentioned dynamic balance. My idea there was that with martial arts, you have to be dynamically balanced. There's no question on you
Right.
can't do martial arts without that dynamic balance.
Yeah.
And it allows a person that's not sportified, not playing tennis, not playing pickleball, and not playing volleyball or basketball to actually in their home, right, someplace like this, do their own
Yeah.
exercises and keep that fine edge of balance. So that's where
Yeah. I
that
mean, I always think of Kung Fu, you're standing, I mean, you have your hands up and
yeah,
any type of martial arts, because Tai Chi, I understand, also is a martial art.
it
And
is.
and 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 generally your legs are spread out, and so you're definitely balanced. So yeah, it just makes total sense that if you're into martial arts, you're gonna have better balance for
You
sure.
you do, especially when you're practicing at a level of motion, a lot of motion. I think of it as it's self-defense for gravity. For instance, in martial arts, oh, you might have somebody that comes and tries to punch you in the nose, and there's a motion that you could do to redirect it. That doesn't just come from, okay, I'm going to think somebody punches to me and I'm going to think I'm going to move my hands. No, it actually, you have to practice it. And I also teach
It's a
younger.
reflex. It's
It
a
becomes a
reflex.
reflex where you can't think of doing anything else because it's so ingrained that it just, well,
Yes.
that's just a pass. The same thing with our legs. For instance, imagine tripping over the threshold of a door, and you can either think your way, try to think, oh, I'm going to put my hands out to catch myself, or you can do what I teach, simply a snap kick, bringing your knee up, snapping your leg out, catching yourself. So it becomes a stumble instead of a true fall.
Right.
Totally different outcomes. Totally different outcomes. And somebody might say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I better be more careful," or you might say, "Oh, I better go to the doctor because my shoulder is dislocated, or my arm is broken, or something even more
Yeah.
serious." So, yeah,
You
that's really what.
you just brought up a memory for me, because I remember many years ago when I played 1 year of college football in Connecticut, and I did taekwondo for a semester, for a while. And one of the exercises I remember was that you would do this exercise where we would have our hands like this, and we would try to, and then someone would stand on the other side and kind of try to get their touch your
Right.
chest before you can close the hand. And if you look at the hand, you always mess up. The way you actually catch the hand before it touches you is if you look at their eyes, and then your natural instincts will close better than if you're looking at the hands, because then you have to like
Absolutely.
process it, think about it. I
Yep.
guess it's, yeah, it's that
Well, you're
unconscious.
you're probably catching other cues besides the eyes moving. For instance, if you see a body do this, it's, oh, there's motion. And it's just a very subtle motion, but the body itself, the mind registers that much more readily than trying to look at a different, and it's using the center vision as opposed to, or it's using the outer vision rather than the center vision. The center vision is good for detail, but just imagine if you're looking, if you're, way back when, as our ancestors were looking out at a horizon and on a savanna, and you're looking at the antelope over there that you want to catch one of those so you can have dinner tonight, and you see something over here on the side, which is a lion, and then suddenly oh, there's something to respond to. Again, that
Yeah.
the center vision is good for detail, but the outer vision really is key to fast reflexes. So I do work on that
Interesting.
as well. In fact, this
Yeah.
morning, one of my sessions, we were working on simply palm strikes, or, I'd get my noodle, stick it towards the camera, and they would have to move it away just as if they were doing that. What this is simply a stimuli and a response, stimuli, response. So they get
Yeah.
into the mode that something happens, they have an appropriate response. It doesn't matter what the response is, it's just a response. The faster the response is, the more likely you'll be able to catch a rail and hold on, or do that quick snap kick, catch yourself, and oh, yeah, that was a near fall. It wasn't a fall.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of falls, I mean, what exactly is dynamic balance, and how is it more from doing just traditional balance exercise like standing on one leg?
You know,
How
you
is
know, it's
dynamic balance
I,
different?
I don't discount those, first of all, because they have their places in developing, that steadiness in the body. Just like Tai Chi and yoga, and even Pilates, you have to have a certain degree of course, core strength to develop that. But
Hmm.
beyond that, it is the spinal cord and response to that stimuli. That's where I'm trying to catch the next wave, in the sense that when we feel off balance with the leg or the core, we're doing something that's very, very fast. We don't even think about it. It's so fast. So how do you develop those? How do you make those so that they're nice, fine edge that you don't think about it? It comes up like, oh, everything happens slow motion, and I caught myself, and then I realized, oh, I almost fell. Nope, it's not necessary though. It just happens really quickly. For instance, how often have you stepped up going upstairs and you don't quite clear one of the steps, and
Yeah, that happens to me.
either you fall into the steps full out, or for instance, for me, I might kick that and then I pull my leg back fast enough, drop my leg fast, and it's like, okay, it's a stutter step, but it's a step. Same thing.
It happens to me with my flip flops.
Oh,
Sometimes
yes.
I'm walking in my flip flops and it's like, for whatever reason, it goes a little bit ahead of my foot, and then it doesn't step properly, and I almost fall. So yeah, so what you're saying, and I guess that's kind of what I was going to ask you in the next question, is that you're sort of kicking, like when you're catching yourself, if you're going to fall, you got to do a kick in a way to
You
stop
do.
yourself from
You
falling.
do. You do. But it's more than the kick. It's more of the attuning the cerebellum with the rest of the nervous system, that, oh, something is happening. What's the stimuli? I don't feel balanced. And suddenly that response kicks in, and boom, there it is. So it's really, and everybody has it already ingrained in them. As children, just imagine a toddler. They know if they're going to fall, what do? They might drop down to the floor, just sit on their bottom, and they're okay. Everybody has that, except as we age, they tend to be pushed back into the less active roles. And what I do is I
Right.
reactivate those, and then they come back. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been inoculated from a fall, literally.
Yeah, yeah. We lose that desire to um achieve more, and that innate desire that we have as a child, that we are going to learn how to walk, and you are determined to learn, and you learn it.
Well, yeah,
Uh
there's
yeah.
an assumption. Oh, I already know how to walk. Well, yeah, but we change. Whether it's injuries, whether it's motions, for instance, somebody not maintaining their muscle strength across core, across the legs, they're going to change their gait. Hmm. So what do you
Yeah.
do with that? Well, first of all, you have to get the strength and the reflexes so that everything becomes natural again. And even stepping, I've seen where I have to readjust, help people adjust their gait so they have a more effective gait. And you've probably seen where people walk and they have their hips tilting like this. In women, it's very attractive. That's how we're supposed to
Mhm.
walk. That's how we're supposed to
Okay.
walk. Why? Because you're making like an anti-pendulum as you walk.
Hmm.
So you're
Yeah.
always staying balanced, and it's harder to come off balance by doing that. So
Yeah.
I use that as one of my modes to help people manage more instead of shuffling. They'll learn how to actually do heel toe walk. So or
Yeah.
relearn.
And it seems like it is very common that as we age, we get older, you just have this natural fear of falling. In fact, this reminds me of a woman I was talking to on Saturday, older woman,
Mhm.
and she was saying how she loves the cold weather, has been in Miami, Florida for the last 20, 30 years. But part of the reason why she doesn't want to move back to New York is because she's scared of falling. I mean, she just has this
I
big fear of falling.
I don't blame her. I've seen, of course, you might see it on TikTok, or not TikTok, but say Instagram, where somebody's on the black ice and their legs go, psh, and they are on their bottom, on their back, whatever, and I'm thinking, oh my Lord, what kind of injury could that have caused? And it really goes back to that one of the skills I teach is what I call slip and rolls. And I take a simple tool, which is a noodle, and I teach my students to roll with the noodle under the foot. And this teaches the brain that, okay, I don't have any resistance, any grip here, no friction that I could rely on. And then I do a
Hmm.
half squat with the other leg. What that does here, I could show you really quickly if you can see on camera.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm teaching my cerebellum again that I can avoid a fall because of that slip. Stepping into a tub,
Okay.
which
So
is more likely.
by just doing that, you're teaching your body to avoid a fall.
Yes, and I've had instances where, in fact, my sister went to Walmart and there was something on the ground. It was wet. Her foot slid out from underneath her.
Can you show me that again?
Sure,
Yeah, I just want to see it because I think it helps
I'm going to back up
visualize
so you can
how,
see the whole thing. And
yeah,
really, right now, I'm teaching it. Okay, there's no friction here. I can't rely on it. What do I do with this if I step on it? Oh, I'm still balanced, but I don't use this foot. So I do this
right.
3 or 4 times. It doesn't take a lot, and I do it with both legs. But that allows
So yeah, what you're doing there is you're basically you're getting the body used to the idea that if you're
a
going like
response.
this,
It's just a
right, a
response.
response.
It's just a response. And again, that stimuli is okay, there's no friction here. It's slipping, it's gone. I can't rely on it. And the other leg says, okay, I got it. Just
Cool,
as easy as
cool.
that. And the same thing with rolling it side to side, that creates a lot of reflexive action in the supporting leg, which means that if you're have you ever walked across the grass and you hit a divot that you don't see and your ankle wants to roll under? What this does is it keeps the ankle will respond and say, nope, I'm staying right here. And it has enough
Yeah,
strength to say no. And so it avoids a rolled ankle, just
right,
like that.
right.
Same thing with the fall. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a couple of different things. And again, it's just creating the stimuli and creating the response. Stimuli, response. And
I know that a lot of athletes, we just saw the World Cup, and a lot of people would talk about how Messi doesn't run that much, and he like just walks. He like runs a lot less than the other players, like 60% less. I've heard on one podcast,
that
and
strategy
but
for him.
yeah, yeah, right. And as we get older, and I've heard things like LeBron James and basketball, kind of like the same idea. As you get older, you have to adapt and you
Yes.
learn how to just absorb what would normally cause an injury. And maybe when you're young, it's not going to cause an injury. But as you get older, if you're not doing some of these extra exercises, you're going to get injured. And so
Yeah,
it's how they
absolutely.
stay in the game for such a long, long time.
One of the things that I thought was interesting is about eccentric exercises, and martial arts is full of eccentric exercises where we're pulling on the muscle as we're releasing it. And how that is useful is it's fast for build. It creates a lot of muscle mass and strength and reflexes without a lot of work. And one exercise that is similar to the one I showed you with the noodle is simply a drop squat, and that's standing normally, feet parallel, and buckling the knees down. Now, what this is doing, for instance, you're falling backwards and you drive your hips forward, you come right back up. Or you're
Right.
falling forward, you drop your hips back and you come back up. It's remember those toys that our children used to have, the Webelos, they would wobble, but they don't fall down. That's what you're creating for the
Okay.
human body. Exactly the same thing. Just driving the center of gravity way down, and then you could bring it back up and be, and it's not hard on the knees. It's easy. It creates that learning on the cerebellum and the reflexes and the rest of the nervous system. So it's like those. What are they taught? No, I don't know. I think I'm the only one that really teaches those particular ones.
I'm curious because I heard this on a podcast with Andrew Huberman, and I do practice this myself. What is your opinion on skipping and hopping?
Um, you know, I like the idea because you're putting a lot of stress on the bones, especially the hip, and the body has to respond every time. For instance, one that I use for just developing biceps is just squeezing. Now, our bones are, for lack of a better term, they're green branches. You can bend them, and if you bend them, the bodies are going to respond. How does it respond? Well, it needs to be stronger done. So it's going to
So,
build.
so okay. So say that again. You're saying the bones can be bent, like,
Yeah.
or they
Oh, yeah.
should be bent, or
You should try to bend them. And the reason that you try to
Mhm.
bend them is that their body responds by putting more minerals into the bone
Right,
to
like
strengthen
what
the
they
bone.
call Wolf's Law, where the body responds with
Right.
more
It's the same
bone.
thing when you're
Yeah,
doing either drop squats or hops or whatever. Not only is it putting that pressure on the hips and of course the femurs and everything that has to be rebuilt and stronger, but if you do it, the body itself is going to respond. So as you do a drop squat, you can feel it within the core itself. It's like, wow, this is a lot of
yeah,
energy that's happening here.
yeah.
And it's not difficult to do for anybody unless well, even if they have an injured knee, you can modify it a little bit to make it work. And it's not
Right.
doing a full flexation of the knee, so it's minimizing the risk of injury. And
Yeah, it's like one of these things I'll teach a lot of my clients, in the fitness world, that if you're going to do a squat, you don't need to go all the way down. In
I,
fact,
I,
often the quarter squat, you're getting
oh,
the same benefit without the risky downside
right.
that can go by doing a full
Right.
squat. So yeah.
I love to think about animal exercises. You see a strong cat, a strong dog, a bird that can fly in the air easily. Where do they go to the gym to be strong?
Right.
They don't. They
They
do their
don't.
flexations, they do their motions, and they've learned animal motion that would do this. Well, humans forget them, and it's okay because I can teach them. You can teach
Yeah.
them, right?
So what are some of the early warning signs that
Uh,
a person, as they get older, what are some of the warning signs that they might experience a bad fall? Like, how do they know their balancing is getting
um,
worse and worse?
Usually shuffling gait. I mean, that's the biggest one. Now,
Shuffling gait. Okay.
yes, where that's where I've seen. And also, of course, you can also have other issues, perhaps balance issues, and these were the less dynamic ones. For instance, closing your eyes and trying to maintain your balance on one foot, really difficult. But what does it do? Should be working the core mostly. So if the core is not getting that strength and that reflex ability, you're not going to be able to maintain. You can't use your hands because the hands are fairly light compared to the mass of the torso. So if you move the mass
Hmm.
of the torso, you can stay balanced. If you try to move your hands around, oh, they only weigh a couple pounds, but this is a lot of weight around here that we can move to stay balanced. So keeping those
Yeah.
really reactive, and again, the exercises that I'm mentioning, those are the ones that I work on to help that fast reflex. And as fast as you can roll it, the faster you can respond. So it's a feedback in that sense. And
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
love about the noodle, especially, it's so inexpensive when it comes to
Right.
a great workout tool.
Yeah.
So,
And so with creating a better future, what can we maintaining balance, mobility? Obviously, this is going to help preserve independence and
oh
avoid
yes,
some, personal
yeah,
financial costs if you get hurt. Um, so yeah, it's very important for that. Would something like stand up paddle, because I just thought, because I haven't done it in a while and I want to get back into it. That would obviously be very good. And I've always heard, and when I did it years ago, the instructor was telling me that women always do it better than men. And I kind of know why, but maybe you could explain, why would women be better at stand up paddle than men?
well, I would imagine most of the weight is concentrated in the hips, assuming that. I
For
really haven't,
most women.
yeah, for
Yeah.
most women.
Yeah.
But now, as far as stand-up paddleboard, I've done that before, and I could feel where it works the core. Does it work the core enough? Does it work the core in
Mm.
a sense that, okay, I'm off balance, I'm doing this or doing that, but it's not making uh, uh, I want to move fast enough that I am well
Right.
over, I'm going to respond appropriately. Plus, you're on the water. The
Yeah. It's
water
a
is
different, that's not the ground,
completely,
obviously.
your
Yeah.
your floor, no matter what you might think, is not going to start doing that. Well, we are in
Right.
California, but it's not going to start doing this on you. The more likelihood is that like you said, you're stepping with your flip-flops and it folds under the front, and you have to know exactly what to do to get that foot out there and be. Or what about stepping off a curb? And then suddenly you're off balance and falling, or, again, missing that step and not getting there. Those are more appropriate responses than simply staying level on a flotation device. That's my take. Of course, people might,
Right.
I really
I
think,
mean, obviously, yeah, it makes total sense. Like, yeah, it's not reality. I mean, you're not always on the water. So
no, not
it's,
always
yeah,
on the one. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. And I guess something like, because I'm actually thinking of taking up rollerblading too. I'm going to do one of those two real soon, rollerblading or stand up paddle. I haven't done rollerblading, I think, since the 90s. What do you think of that? Like, I mean, I guess it's not going to hurt, but again, it doesn't replace practicing preventing
Yeah,
falls,
well,
I would imagine.
I mountain bike. So I
Right.
take a bike and I basically hurdle myself down the hill. Now,
Yeah.
I do that for two reasons. That does help with my reflexes, but because I'm on the edge of, you might say, disaster, sometimes you think, oh my God, this is really exciting, and it gets adrenaline up, and that's great. But if I'm another 15 years older, would I do that? Probably not. Mainly because I can
Right.
understand that if I injure myself, it's a really long road to recovery. And
Yeah.
I'm the way I even ride now, I'm more conservative of a rider, even though like I was told, oh, you hurdle yourself down the hill. Well, yes, I do. But going back to roller skating or skateboarding, I've had friends that, oh yeah, they were good when they were younger at skateboarding, and they end up breaking something. Not to
Yeah.
affirm that has happened to you. I'm
And I would
just saying,
imagine rollerblading is a little bit better than the skateboarding. But yeah. And I guess obviously, if they say you're supposed to wear the pads for
that's
your wrist because
right,
when you fall,
right.
yeah, your
Actually,
wrists tend to be the first to go
yeah,
typically.
skateboarding, he blew out his knee or something like that. So it's like, yeah, and um, again, there it's appropriate. What kind of risk level do you want to take? And the
Right.
way I look at this is that for a lot of people, just the risk of walking up and down stairs is a lot of risk. The risk
Right.
of having to negotiate uneven surfaces, whether it's grass or pavement, whatever, is a risk in itself. So I look at
Yeah.
those particular items as the biggest risk that I can help somebody with. And if I can help them keep them from slipping and falling in their tub and injuring themselves, that is where I am. Everything else is okay, it's game time.
Right. Okay. Great. Well, JR, thanks for giving us
Yeah,
these
it was
tips
awesome
with
talking to you.
yeah, with balancing. If people want to get in touch with you, I mean, I know you have your website, you have your email there, but
Yeah.
what's the best way if somebody wants to get in touch with you? And just to remind everyone, you do help a lot of clients via telehealth, via
Well, in fact,
Zoom call.
almost all of my sessions, this is my stage right here. And as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much area that I really give myself to doing
Mm-hmm.
to exercise. So so it's all via almost all via Zoom. I do some in person, but typically I try to maintain Zoom because that means you can be at home, set up your phone in a vertical mode and watch and follow along. It's really
Right.
makes it so much easier and more available than anything else. Also, almost all and
Right.
most of my sessions are live, so I'm actually watching what you're doing and I could give suggestions, a little feedback. For instance, if I see you might be not spotting, we need to spot. Let's try spotting, and then changes everything. So to
Yeah.
contact me, it would be jr@silverninjas.com or just go to the
Mm-hmm.
website silverninjas.com. That's the easiest. Send me an
The
email
best way.
and I'll send you an invite so that you can try out a session and see what you think about it. Because if you really like the sessions the way I run them, you're going to want to do them. And the reason I say
Mm-hmm.
that is that I look at this as a whole body experience, not just a leg day, shoulder day, whatever day. I look at the whole body doing it every time. And then I use martial arts to help to supplement that fast motion. And I always end up finish with either affirmation or meditation, which I think is really important because we want to be able to come down from whatever we're doing into a ground state where you can really reconnect with the spirit and body.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to go into my little 2-minute fit tip and I'm going
Yes.
to talk, I'm going to talk le- creatine. It's probably that and amino acids are sometimes the only two dietary supplements that I think most men over 40 need.
Hmm.
Creatine has recently, there's been more research. Creatine for many, many years has been popular to grow muscle and to have a little bit more energy while you're working out. And creatine is found in meat, but we can't eat enough meat to get enough creatine. So a lot of people are taking the supplement creatine separate by itself. And it's just very effective for growing and keeping muscle. But the latest research has shown that if you take more than 10 grams of creatine per day, it's also good for the brain and
Mm.
helps with memory, helps you recover better if you didn't sleep well. So that's what the latest research has shown. So I'm recommending creatine. I take it myself, and it's one of
Same
the
here.
few, yeah, cool. Yeah, one of the few dietary supplements that I take regularly and that I recommend for my clients to take regularly.
Awesome.
But that's everything for today for the Better Wealth and Health podcast. This has been great, JR. Thank you once
Herman, it's
again.
been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And this will be coming out on Friday. Thank you all for watching. And we will be back again with the Better Wealth and Health podcast. You can also find us on YouTube as well. Bye,
Be
everyone.
blessed. Be blessed, brother.